Imagine a world where your heartbeat could betray you, where the walls have ears, and one wrong word could erase your entire life. This was not a movie. This was real. And in the shadows of East Germany, one man was listening. In the dark and divided heart of East Germany, during the height of the Cold War, there lived a man whose job was to listen. Not to music, not to laughter, not to stories, but to the private lives of others. His name was Captain Gerd Wiesler, one of the top agents of the Stasi, the East German secret police. The Stasi had one mission: to control people through fear. Every phone call, every friendship, every word was watched. In their world, silence was survival. It was 1984, and the Berlin Wall stood tall, a line that divided freedom from fear. On one side, the promise of liberty. On the other, a world of suspicion and control. And inside that world lived Wiesler, a man of discipline, a man of the system. His life was a pattern of repetition. He woke up alone, went to work alone, and returned to an apartment that was silent and colorless. His loyalty to the state was absolute. He believed what he had been taught, that the government was always right and those who questioned it were dangerous. But then came one assignment that changed everything. Wiesler was ordered to spy on Georg Dreimann, one of East Germany's most celebrated playwrights, a man adored by the public and respected by the authorities. Georg was seen as loyal to the state, someone who never criticized the system. He lived with Christa Maria Stieland, a beautiful, gifted actress who was also loved by the people. Together, they were the golden couple of East German art, admired, envied, and closely watched. But what Georg didn't know was that his success had caught the attention of a powerful man, Minister Bruno Hempf, the Minister of Culture. Hempf didn't care about Georg's politics. He wanted Christa for himself. And to clear his path, he needed a reason to destroy Georg. So, under the disguise of state security, Hempf ordered a full surveillance operation on Georg's life. Wiesler was chosen to lead it. He believed it was an honor, another mission to protect the country from traitors. He didn't know he was being used as a pawn in another man's desire. Soon, Georg's apartment was filled with hidden microphones, inside lamps, behind wallpapers, under tables. Wires ran through walls to a dark attic across the street where Wiesler sat, wearing headphones surrounded by tape recorders and notes. Every sound from Georg's home, every word, laugh, sigh, flowed into Wiesler's ears. At first, he listened like a machine. He wrote down everything, every phrase that could be interpreted as suspicious. He believed he was doing his duty. But something unexpected began to happen. Night after night, as he listened to Georg and Christa talk, love, argue, and dream, he began to feel something he hadn't felt in years: empathy. He heard Georg play the piano, pouring his soul into the keys. He heard Christa laugh softly after a fight. He heard them talk about hope, art, and freedom, and for the first time, he realized they weren't enemies. They were human. He, on the other hand, was the one trapped, living in isolation, loyal to a system that had stolen his humanity. One day, Georg's close friend, Albert Jerska, a talented director, took his own life. He had been blacklisted by the government, banned from working, and broken by hopelessness. When Georg learned of his death, something in him shattered. That night, Wiesler heard Georg cry for the first time. And as Georg mourned, Wiesler quietly took off his headphones. He couldn't listen anymore. Soon after, Georg decided to do the unthinkable. He planned to write an article for a Western newspaper, an article that would expose the truth the East German government tried to hide, the rising number of suicides among citizens, silenced by fear and despair. It was a dangerous act, a crime that could destroy him. And Wiesler heard every word of the plan through his headphones. He knew he should report it. That was his duty. That was the law. But his heart had changed. Instead of exposing Georg, he began to protect him. He changed reports, he erased conversations, he even warned Georg indirectly, manipulating the system from within. For the first time in his life, Captain Wiesler, the perfect soldier, had become a silent rebel. Meanwhile, Minister Hempf continued to pressure Christa. He told her that her career would end unless she submitted to him. Christa, terrified of losing everything, fell into his trap. When Wiesler discovered this, he felt disgusted, not at Christa, but at the cruelty of the men he served. He realized that the real corruption wasn't outside. It was inside the very system he had protected all his life. Christa's guilt grew unbearable. She confessed to Georg what she had done. He forgave her, but the walls were closing in. The Stasi began to suspect that something was wrong. Reports didn't match, evidence went missing. Wiesler's superior officers started to doubt him. Then came the night that decided everything. Christa, broken and frightened, was brought in for interrogation. Under pressure and manipulation, she revealed the hiding place of the typewriter, the one used to write the illegal article. A raid was ordered on Georg's apartment. But Wiesler moved first. He sneaked into the flat, found the typewriter, and hid it in a safe place, saving Georg's life once again. When the Stasi searched, they found nothing. Georg was spared, but the tragedy wasn't over. Christa, consumed by guilt and shame, ran into the street that night. Rain poured from the sky. Headlights flashed. A car struck her. Georg ran to her, held her in his arms, and whispered her name as her life faded away. From a distance, Wiesler watched silently, the man who had saved them both, but couldn't save her soul. Years passed. History changed. The Berlin Wall fell. East Germany collapsed. The Stasi was dissolved. The files of millions of citizens were opened to the public. Now a free man, Georg Dreimann, older, quieter, but still haunted, decided to read his file. Inside those dusty pages, he found something extraordinary. Reports written by the agent assigned to spy on him, but filled with lies, false statements, and missing evidence. Someone had protected him. Someone inside the system had risked everything for him. The name on the report, HGWXX7. Captain Gerd Wiesler. Georg wanted to meet him. He found Wiesler living a simple life, working as a postman. No medals, no rank, no uniform, just an ordinary man in a gray coat. Georg didn't know what to say. He simply looked at him and asked, "Why?" Wiesler looked back quietly and replied, "I knew you would come." Nothing more was needed. Years later, Georg published a new novel. Its title, Sonata for a Good Man. On the first page, there was a simple dedication for HGWXX7. When Wiesler walked past a bookstore one day, he saw the book in the window. He picked it up, turned the first page, and read those words. He didn't smile. He didn't cry. He just whispered softly, "It's for me." And he walked away, the book held close to his heart. Quiet, content, redeemed. The Lives of the Others isn't just a story about spying, politics, or history. It's about what happens when one human heart rediscovers its capacity to feel. Wiesler began as a man who followed orders,
who believed in fear, who saw people as files. But through listening, truly listening, he learned compassion. He didn't start a revolution with guns or banners. He started one inside himself. Because sometimes the most powerful act of rebellion is simply choosing to be human again. The Lives of Others reminds us that no matter how dark the system, no matter how deep the control, empathy can still exist. Even one man lost in the machinery of oppression can find light again. And that, in the end, is what saves us all.